I'm Owen Bigland. This is the Inside Edge video blog. Okay, a couple of new polls that came out. It was in the media, and then I get this through my brokerage. We have a media person in my office that we post everything related to real estate 5 days a week. So there was a couple of articles here, one in the Financial Post, a new Dye & Durham consumer trends research poll that was done on Canadians and home ownership. And it turns out now that, the number of Canadians that are expecting or want to buy a house in 2024 has gone up substantially. Basically, it was, Canadians are getting sick of waiting on the sidelines for the housing market to improve. Well, as I told you guys, 2023 wasn't a bad year. Prices were up slightly in the Lower Mainland, even though our interest rate environment was not that favorable. But last year, it said 35% had no intention of buying a home over the next 12 months. That's now dropped to only 20%. So, so it's going down that are waiting on the sidelines. So 35% last year, 2 years ago, has gone down to 20. So they're getting more anxious to try and buy a home. In BC here, they had an Angus Reid poll that was tied into this. 21% of British Columbians would like to buy a house in 2024. And that is up substantially from 2022. I think it's about double. So again, people have been on the sidelines. It's kind of like holding that balloon underwater. I think interest rates now are probably going to be coming down starting later this year, maybe in the summer. I'm already seeing signs of people trying to get in front of that now, but some buyers. The problem is we just don't have a lot of inventory right now to sell them. Even the renters are kind of coming around. 8% now of renters would like to buy a home. That's up from 6% a year earlier. Well, gee, the only reason this isn't 100% of renters, unfortunately, is because a lot of them have just given up hope. I've done lots of blogs on this before. It's a sad thing to see. You can turn your fortunes around, I would say, to renters. I've done so many blogs on this. Start saving for that down payment. Part of it, though, of course, is the fuel to get the down payment. If you're in a job that you're just barely treading water on, then you've got to find ways to start earning more money to get towards that down payment. And that could be a number of things, getting side hustles with technology. There's lots of ways to start earning supplemental income, or go back to school, learn a new career, or get a new job that pays you more. It's not going to be easy. It's that mirror test I talk about. You're going to have to put up with some short-term pain to get that long-term gain. But it's nothing has changed in this world. If you want to get it done, it's going to be on you, on your shoulders. The other thing I think that why more people are coming around to this, and that more and more Canadians are saying that I don't think the housing market is ever going to correct this big crash that was always coming and prices were going to drop 50 or 60%. They're kind of losing their patience on that, and they should. Corrections will happen. 5, 10, 15%, they're pretty consistent, over long periods of time. Every 3, 4, 5 years, we'll get a correction. But to have a massive correction, a crash of 50% or more, is highly unlikely. You'd be better off just, getting your own house of cards, your cards in order, getting that down payment together, and getting into home ownership. But it's not going to get any easier. As I've done many, many blogs, things like the stress test, the banks, and all the hurdles they want you to jump through to be able to qualify for the mortgage. Of course, prices slowly are continue to rise. Wages in a lot of cases aren't keeping pace with that increased housing market. So it's not going to be an easy feat, but it can be done. I'm kind of immune to a lot of this stuff, these people that are on the sidelines, because of course, being a realtor, I'm working with buyers and sellers every single day. On the buying side, I've got a lot of young buyers that are buying their first home. Some are moving up into their second home or buying an investment home, and they're doing it. But I know a lot of Canadians are struggling and aren't in that position. You need to get into that position. It's not impossible. But the people that I work with, they've all got one thing in common. They've made the commitment. They've made the sacrifices to get to the position they're in. You have to do the same thing. Couple of quick little quotes here. I always like to give you guys some quotes off some of the stuff that I read in books or on X or in the Wall Street Journal from some of these financial guys. So this was a good one that came through. He said, you notice that while a lot of people are happy to tell you about the golden ages, nobody ever seems to think one is happening right now. Maybe that's because the only place a golden age can ever happen is in our memory. How many blogs have I done? How I think, listen, life isn't easy, but I do believe with technology right now, all the options that are open to you for investing your money that I never would have dreamed about even just 10 years ago, with low-cost ETFs and index investing and commission-free trading, that we are living in a golden age. The technology now that you can leverage to start earning multiple revenue streams is incredible now. So yeah, I think a lot of people will look back 20 years from now and say, yeah, 2024 was a golden age to get businesses started, getting side hustles going, building a YouTube channel, whatever. The other one, this one I love, and I've talked about this one before on variances of this one. And this one, I can't get enough of these ones because they're just so 100%. It's slapping people in the face, for God's sake, and people still don't wake up to this. You know, this is a guy, Value Stock Geek. He's a guy I follow on X. He's got a large stock portfolio, smart guy. I think he's got a master's degree in economics. He goes, I'm convinced that most of the Perma Bears realize that it's bullshit. They do. But they do it for the money. Nothing gets clicks and ratings like fear. The best part is that you're never wrong. These Perma Bears are never wrong. I've told you guys about this too. When you get a 20% drawdown every 5 years, which we always do, and a 50% drawdown every 15 years, which is normal, they all declare victory. This is what's killing so many people from getting into home ownership, from saving for retirement, getting their money working for them. They follow these buffoons on places like X and TikTok and Instagram, and there's tons of them on YouTube. If you want, go to my Twitter feed. I've been outing a bunch of these guys, these doom and gloom clickbait guys. They have no clue about real estate, stocks, nothing. They don't have any background in any of it. But that's not the game. The game is to get 2, 3, 4 million subscribers on YouTube and get you in. The way they do that is with the sky is falling, the market's going to crash, don't buy stocks in 2024, don't buy real estate in 2023, the market's going to crash. They draw these suckers in, and that's what you are. You're a sucker if you're listening to these guys. Why not, instead of listening to these anonymous guys on YouTube with the 2 million followers, why don't you go to the library or go onto Amazon and buy some books on real estate and investing from people who know what they're talking about? You can start with my book, still a bestseller on Amazon. But for investing, why don't you buy some books on Warren Buffett or Jack Bogle? Those are the people that you should be listening to, and they'll tell you to just go buy the S&P 500 and call it a day. These guys, these Perma Bears, that's all they do. It's a game. It's the what they call that broken clock theory. That, hey, a broken clock is right twice every 24 hours. So, hey, that's the way they do it. And they keep moving the goalposts. These guys, I talked to you guys on CNBC, these panel of experts that they bring on there, so-called money managers on the halftime report. These guys are wrong far more than they're right. They're just guessing at this stuff. Most of them called for a bad stock market in 2023, a recession. And, my portfolio last year, my total portfolio was up over 40%. Now, I had some stocks that were up over 200%. My Canadian stuff was kind of a laggards. I was up about 7 or 8%. But nobody called for that. That's why you just set it, buy and hold quality assets, Vancouver real estate, low-cost ETFs, and then spend all that time watching the media and the news and these guys that are trying to get you in with this clickbait fear stuff. Spend that on starting a side hustle, getting another business going back to school, work on yourself so you can start earning more money to get you out of the renter's quicksand and into home ownership. And it's not that tough. You can buy a condo on SkyTrain right now in Richmond for under $400,000. You might be able to qualify with 10% down. So 40K will get you into home ownership and out of that renter quicksand. Now you're in the market, creating equity two ways, paying down the debt, and over the long term, you will get tremendous capital gains on that. Not every year. There'll be good years and bad years, years that it treads water. But you buy that condo today, in 20 years, you're going to be pretty pleased with the value of it by that time. So the biggest thing, last thing is just start. You guys almost these days, this was one advantage I had when I started out 30 years ago. I wasn't inundated with all this social media garbage. And most of it is garbage. I still use X, but I have to weed through about 10% of the stuff on there I find valuable, and I'm really follow very few people. And I never click on, for you category to get into all that political turmoil and all the other hate that's on there. It's like shooting yourself with a bad drug. These days, I think a lot of young people need to just put their blinders on, work, hustle, start saving your money, start investing your money, get better, stay in shape, get plenty of sleep, eat right, and tune a lot of this garbage out because you're inundated with it. And see how you feel. I always tell you guys that on the Huberman lab, he came up with a good test. Go on to Twitter, TikTok, or whatever else you want to do and watch it for 10 minutes and then turn off your phone. Close your eyes and see how you feel. Do you feel invigorated? Do you feel energized, optimistic to attack the day? Or do you feel angry, envious, upset, anxiety levels are high? You do the test, and I think you're going to find that you're not going to feel motivated or good about any of that garbage. So why are you taking it in? It's like shooting yourself with a bad drug every day and every time you pick up your phone to look at that stuff. Successful people don't look at that stuff. I don't look at any. I tune it all out. I told you guys I cut the cable on my TV 10 years ago. I don't miss watching the 6 o'clock nightly news. It's all garbage. Start doing these little things and see if you start noticing a difference in your life, how you feel, how you're sleeping. Your energy levels will all start to improve. And if you keep doing that day by day, you'll be pretty surprised where you can get in 5 or 10 years. Final thing, I've did that blog on distancing yourself from the competition. Well, first off, I don't think many people have any competition if you really look at it. And if you did those things that I've recommended on my Saturday blog, or if you read my book, you start doing and putting those into a regular routine, I think you'll be astonished at where you are in 2, 3, 4, 5 years. I think you'll be blown away as far as distance yourself from your competition. So give it a try. I think we are living in a golden age. We're not going to know that though for another 20 years when we look back on it. I'm Owen Bigland. As always, thanks for watching. See you next week.